Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and it's day 2 of our November 2025 release. Hey, so I'm using Jaded Blossom's brand new Snowman Pet dies, their Snowman Pet Faces stamp set that's new, their new Winter Scenic dies, their Snow Globe dies, their Meowin' Forever stamp set, and the matching outline dies. Oops, didn't have the outline dies on the other side for you, but you get the gist. There's the outline dies. And then the Build a Wreath die as well. And I went ahead and I cut out one of the hills from that Winter Scenic die. And then I used the circle die from the Snow Globe to create a hill for inside. So first, this is an A2 size card base cut at 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5 inches with my Martha Stewart scoreboard. And then I put a piece of paper that's 1/8 of an inch smaller on top, and that is from Doodlebug's Snow Much Fun 6-inch pad. Now I'm going to be assembling my Snow Globe cut from Paper Drink white cardstock and then patterned paper from that same pad from Doodlebug. I'm going to add a 1-inch strip to the inside of my card from that same paper pad, Snow Much Fun, from Doodlebug. There we go. And I will trim off that overhang with a pair of scissors. Sorry, I'm off the screen there a little bit. There we go. And I'm pulling in another strip from that same 6-inch pad that was just left over. I'm just going to add that as well. And I'll trim off that overhang with a pair of scissors. You'll see that the other side of that is from the front of the card. Now I'm going to layer up some of these little circle dies. These were cut from Paper Tray Ink white cardstock and then American Crafts gray cardstock. And I'm just going to, have 2 layers around the edge of the snow globe just to kind of give it a defined border. So I'll pop on the white one on first. And then I'll pop on the gray one. I want it to kind of stand out from my background because there is some white in that background pattern. So I'm just going to add the American Crafts gray one in next. That's the same die that I used to cut out the hill from the Winter Scenic dies. And that was cut from Paper Tray Ink white cardstock as well. So there's the hill. So you see that I did cut it out with that same die, so it nestles in there. And you'll see that there are 2 little mountains that were assembled that are in there as well. And that's American Crafts gray cardstock, dark gray, and white cardstock. Remember, you can watch me assemble those pieces on the Winter Scenic die assembly video. So I'm just going to add in 2 mountains. You'll see the cat to my left there, the snowman pet cat, and with the face on it. And remember, you can watch me assemble that on the assembly video as well as these trees, but it's pretty straightforward. This is American Crafts green cardstock and brown cardstock. So I chose 2 of the trees that I'm going to have on the left. I'm just going to layer those up. 2 different colors of green, same color of brown from American Crafts. So I'm just layering those up. Excuse my voice, I've got a cold. It's holding on, people, it's holding on. So next I am going to add in my little kitty cat here. I'm just going to try and figure out where everything's going to go. So there are 2 layers. I cut this pattern paper, as with all the others, from Doodlebug's Snow Much Fun. But then I cut the base out again out of Paper Tray Ink white cardstock. And I did that just to make it a little bit thicker. So when it lays over those ridges, it doesn't cause much of a bump, right? So I'm going to add this little piece on with some Bearly Art glue. Now all my die cutting today was done with my Anna Griffin Empress as per usual, working on a Stampin' Up pad, Bearly Art glue, HEG tape, all the things. So I'm going to weight that down. Next, I'm going to assemble this little bow. And I did cut that from that same pattern paper along with some Paper Tray Ink white cardstock. And I'm just going to layer it up because I want it to be a little bit thicker. And I find it defines it a bit more when you layer the pieces up with that heavier weight cardstock. And then that way it just kind of pops up. Now this bow is from the Build a Wreath die. This is one of my favorite bows. to add on to, you know, cards and stuff like that. So I just really like the shape of it and everything. It's just a fun bow to use. So I'm just going to layer that up. And then next I'm going to add in my little tie, or my little knot piece, I guess that's called. And I do weight it down with an acrylic block. Next I'm going to, stamp a sentiment from the Meow and Forever stamp set from Jaded Blossom. And I'm using Paper Ink white cardstock and then VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So it says Meowy Christmas, which is fun. There it is. Now on the inside, I'm going to stamp a sentiment from Gnome Peaking. I forgot to say that I was going to use that one. So I'm using the Happy Holidays on the inside for this one. And that was from the Gnome Peaking stamp set. And now I'm going to use some little odds and ends. These are from the Snow Much Fun odds and ends set. So I'm going to add a little snowman. I try to match what I have going on the outside to the inside. And then I'm going to add 3 snowflakes as well. Because, you know, in these little odds and ends sets, you get these little pieces. And I just like to use them up. There we go. And I just think it's fun. Kind of matches the paper. I'm pulling out a Sakura black glaze pen. And I'm just going to color in the eyes and the buttons. And these make them like shiny and kind of, they give them a bit of dimension, sort of. You do have to let them dry. Next, I'm pulling out a Sakura white jelly roll pen and a number 10, and I'm going to add some freckles and maybe like a highlight. And there we go. Now I'm going to cut out this sentiment with the outline die. There we go. I do tape it in place because I find that, you know, every once in a while, things move and then you're not a happy camper, right? So I tend to tape it in place even though there's a magnet. And there it is, it's cut out. And now I'm going to assemble my little scene. So I'm going to add my little bow. Isn't that cute? Then I'm going to add my little kitty cat, my little snowman kitty cat. The snowman pets. I just think these are so cute. So I'm going to glue this down with some Barely Art glue. Remember, you can watch me assemble that on the Snowman Pet Dies assembly video. There it is. And I have my little scene. So he's got in a wintry scene, or she's in a wintry scene, right? And next I am going to stick my whole snow globe down onto my card front with some ATG tape. And I will add a little bit of glue around the edge just because why not, right? Make sure everything stays down. So I try to center that as well as I can on my card front. And I just think this is so cute, right? Isn't he just adorable? And we will pop up this little sentiment Meowy Christmas with some of these Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. And like I said, you just can't go wrong. My favorite from this, I don't even know which one's my favorite from this release. I really like the Winter Scenic dies. I really like the Snowman Pet dies, you know. Although at the same time, I love the new snowman and I love the new moose. So what can I say? I like everything. So there we go. And isn't that sweet? So it says Meowy Christmas. Just trying to make sure it's nice and straight. There, and next I'm going to pull out, these are these shakers from Doodlebug, and they're called Ice Crystals, and the other one's called Flurry, and I'm going to shake some out, and then I'm going to use those as embellishments. Now, they're little snowflakes, and they're made out of clay, and they're fun to use like as an embellishment, and that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just using my embellishment wand to pick them up. And I'm just going to kind of alternate the colors here, you know, make them stand out depending on what's behind where I'm putting it, right? So we're just going to make sure that we have some fun clay bits. And there we go. Okay, and that's it. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog, be inspired by the team, and the Jaded Blossom store to get your hands on these amazing products. And remember to check out the assembly videos if you're stuck. Bye, everybody.